Hi, Bruce. How are you today?
Yeah, good, Mrs. Summers. It's
Yes.
good to catch up again. Look, I just need to clarify the requirements that you have for the property because I just want to narrow it down to make sure that I've got the property which I think is the right property for you. So can you just remind me again, like how many bedrooms, etc., how many bathrooms, and
Sure.
any specific requests you've got for the property?
Yeah, well, look, we're looking for 4 bedrooms, 2 bath, a big kitchen area, a big rumpus room, and a nice backyard for any dogs that we might be able to have, and obviously near the schools.
Okay. Well, look, this property that I've got that's owned by the Strix, it meets all of your criteria as you've outlined, it's close to schools and that sort of thing. I think it'll work. So what I need to do is work out a time with you, a day and a time that is acceptable to you, and then I can see if I can go back and organise that with the client.
Okay, how's Thursday at 4 o'clock?
Yeah, look, I think that will actually work because I know they don't like having inspections in the morning, and preferably probably not on the weekend, as silly as that may sound.
Sure.
So look, let's make it that's for Thursday morning at 4 o'clock, Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock at the property, which you've got the details on the property. So we'll meet at the property unless I come back to you otherwise.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
G'day, Bruce. How you doing?
Yeah, good. Look,
Oh, good.
I've got some great news for you. I have been able to move that prospective buyer to an appointment, and she seems quite keen. She does actually, she's told us what she's looking for in a property, and your property basically ticks all the boxes.
Oh, great.
So we've set up an appointment for next Thursday afternoon at 4 p.m. if we can have access to your property. at that
Okay,
stage.
yeah, let me just check my schedule. Yep, that looks good. Bruce, is there anything I need to do?
Look, I think it's just fairly basic things. Look, I think that what we need to do is if you can just make sure that the place is tidy and clean and presents well. One thing we always recommend is that don't leave valuables out, put valuables away. It might sound as a simple thing, but it's something we think you should do. And if you've got any pets, secure them so that they're not conserving any problems at the time. Look, I think we'll only be here for about 15 minutes, but if we allocate 30 minutes, the longer the person's actually here, the better.
Okay.
But let's allocate 30 minutes and let's confirm that that's done then for next Thursday at 4 p.m.
Great, that's great, Bruce. See you then.
Okay. Well, here we are, and Mrs. Summers, we've had a bit of a walkthrough. I think the vibe I'm getting is that I think you like the house. I think that there was probably 3 areas that stood out in things that you're saying as we're going through, and I really thought that you see that the entry area when on arrival you thought looked pretty good. Yeah, you like the living room and the open plan living areas that are the centre part of the house, really. And I think that you seem fairly positive about the kitchen. Am I correct?
Yes. Well, look, I think the kitchen was okay. The bathroom was just a little small, but the open area was big. I think that this needs to be a little bit of painting. It's a different color than I thought there would be. And the color kind of just wasn't just what I was looking for.
Right. You got school traffic too. But okay, so look, let's address your first question about the painting. We did actually talk to the owners about that, and we looked at painting those areas because you're right, there is some areas there that need painting. However, what we decided after talking it through was that whatever colour that the Strix choose to paint the property may not suit the buyer's colour scheme anyway.
Yeah.
So what we've done is that we've left that painting it will be left to the purchaser, and we've actually priced the property accordingly. So we got an idea of what the painting was going to cost. We reduced what their expectation was by that amount, and we'll leave that up to you so you can actually paint it to suit yourself. Was there anything else?
Just it's a bit noisy because it sounds like it's next to a school or.
Yeah, well, it's funny you should say that because one of the things you mentioned earlier that you were wanting to be in a proximity close to a school. Yes, it is close to the school.
Yeah.
And the noise that you happened just because of the time we did the inspection this afternoon is actually school traffic. Being it's this time of the afternoon, people coming and picking up their children.
So
and
it's
that
not
sort of
like
thing.
that all the time.
It's not like that all the time. And one of the positives are you've got young children, and that's why you wanted to be near a school so they can walk. A lot of the children in this area actually walk to school.
Fantastic. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, good.
So what we're at now is that if you're happy with it all, are you comfortable? Are you in a position that we put in an offer at this point in time?
Yes, Bruce, I think I would. I would like to do that. The offer that we would like to put an offer.
You're missing issues.
So there's a couple issues that we did have. The issue being that obviously finance. I need to go to the banks and have a discussion about the finance and the period of time of how long it's going to take to do
Okay,
that.
that's cool. I understand that. That's pretty normal for finance. But do you like the house?
Love the house. The house is great. It
Is
actually
it-
suits the needs.
And it's in your price range that we discussed when
Yes.
we first started looking at it.
It is in the price range.
And if we can come up with a situation where we can take into consideration the finance, because we can put a clause into the contract that says it's subject to finance. If we were able to do that, are you in a position to
Oh, can
make
you
an
do
offer?
that?
Yeah, we can do that.
You can
We
do
can
that.
put it as a clause in the contract. So
Okay,
you're in a position to make an offer.
Yeah, I am. I would put an offer
Okay.
for that.
Okay, fine. Coming back to you now.
Yeah.
Mrs.
So-
Summers, look, there's some good news, there's bad news. We did put in your offer.
Yes.
The Strix were interested in the offer. They felt you were too low for what they were looking for. They were quite happy with a lot of your terms and definitions, but as you'll see by the contract, they have changed the price. So they've been willing to
okay.
negotiate. They've come down,
Oh, yeah.
not to your price, but by the contract you can see that they've negotiated and that they've come down to a price. Would you
What
be
about the
willing to sign on
repairs
that?
and stuff we talked about before with the painting, Bruce? And
Yeah, well, they think that all of that's been taken into consideration even on their listed price. So they do think
Okay.
they've come down to help you out.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, that sounds good then, Bruce. Let's meet them then at that offer there.
No. So okay, now I'm talking to the Strix, right? So okay, look, we've got another out of the blue. We've now got another buyer.
Oh.
So in relation to Strix, Mr. Strick, we now have this second buyer. We're still working with the first buyer. The second buyer has basically come on. They're willing to meet your price that you've suggested, but the problem is that most of the terms and conditions are extended the same. However, the problem is that they want an additional 30 days for settlement, and I don't know how you'll feel about that.
All right. Well, no, I'd rather not have the extra 30-day settlement.
Right. So, so if they're not willing to do that, we're sort of in a bit of a situation here where we've got. So you prefer us to go back to the first.
To the first offer.
Okay, Mrs. Summers.
Yeah.
But the problem is that you've got a price that she doesn't want to meet, and
Right.
your price is too high, and her price is too
Yes.
low. So we're sort of in a bit of a deadlock situation at the moment. What if I go back and talk to her again? I've got to basically make her aware anyway that there's another buyer in the marketplace, and we'll see how we'll go. How's that sound to you?
Okay, that sounds good, Bruce. If you can let us know, because we'd rather have the early settlement.
Okay. So we've now had these discussions, and we've come up to a situation where we've agreed terms, and we are pretty happy that we've come up with a good outcome for Mr. Summers and the Strix. Everybody seems to be pretty happy with this situation.
Yeah.
The price and the conditions of sale with the Strix and the purchase of the Summers are good. Is there any other concerns or anything else we should be considering before signing?
No, that's fine. I'm happy with the price that's there. I'm happy with the price. Thank you, Bruce.
Okay.
We'll continue with that.
Okay, so Mrs. Summers, now we have to go through the forms and explain the process. And
Sure.
And have you got any questions that you'd like to ask about?
Yeah, Bruce.
what
I
I'm
was just
doing here?
wondering, how does the 5-day statutory cooling off period work?
Okay, well, it's actually 5 working days, and it's designed to protect the purchaser, really, so that if you've made a rash decision, you've got 5 days in a cooling off period where you don't have to give a reason and you can pull out of the contract.
Okay. And who holds the deposit, and what happens to the deposit at settlement?
Okay, the deposit gets paid into our trust account. We give you a receipt for that, and the deposit gets transferred to the solicitors at settlement as part of your payment.
Oh, okay. And what happens if Mr. Summers can't obtain the finance?
Well, if you can't obtain the finance, then under the contract, that's a clause in the contract.
Yeah.
The contract becomes null and void, and you get your deposit back in full.
Okay. And what happens when the contract of sale goes unconditional?
Once the contract of sale goes unconditional, then basically we're in a position that you will be buying the property. So we could put a sold sign on it.
Right.
you can get pretty excited about the fact that you've now got just a matter of time and you'll be moving into your new home, and basically you're locked into purchase and they're locked into sell too.
Okay. And what happens on settlement day, Bruce?
Well, on settlement date, that's a pretty exciting day for everybody because the solicitors all get together. We don't really know a time in advance of when they're going to settle, but once it's all done, the money gets transferred from your solicitors to the people who are selling, the Stricks, and once the solicitors confirm that the transactions, everything done, the solicitors will hand over the keys and you can move into your new house.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
Okay, now,
This is Mr. Strick.
yeah, so look, Mr. Strick, great news. We've got the contract in place. They've signed the contract at this point in time, deposit, everything's been done. Have you got any questions?
Just a question. The deposit, especially who holds the deposit when the deposit is released?
Sure. Look, the deposit, we hold the deposit in our trust account, and then when it's getting close to settlement, the deposit is then released to the solicitors and becomes part of the settlement process.
Okay. And what are excluded fixtures for me, Bruce?
Sure. Look, excluded fixtures, anything that's basically bolted down is deemed to be a fixture. But if it's something that you can take away, like a television or a mobile dishwasher or something like that, then that's deemed to be excluded fixtures. So they will be. You can take those with you when you sell.
Okay. And the importance of the finance date?
Well, shuttles.
Yeah.
So the finance date is very important, but the problem, the whole thing with the finance date is that once finance is approved, we're one step closer to an unconditional contract.
Okay. And what are included in the chattels?
Well, the chattels, the most obvious way of explaining it to you is that chattels are things that you'd expect to stay. So like there's a swimming pool in the backyard, you've got all the filtration and pool equipment and bits and pieces to go with that. That would be expected to stay, so that'll be listed under the chattels.
Okay. And the importance of the building and pest inspection date, Bruce, what's that?
Well, that's similar in importance to the finance date because once finance is approved, if then we get an approval for the building and pest inspection, once the solicitors get confirmation that they don't have any problems with the building and pest inspection, then the contract goes totally unconditional and the buyer's locked in.
Okay. And then what is the settlement date?
The settlement date's on the contract. It's the date that's set down. That on that date, your solicitors and their solicitors will get together and suitable documentation will be done to transfer the title deeds across to the purchaser. Money will be transferred into your account.
Oh, good.
That's
a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. And the money will get transferred into your account and the keys will be handed over to the purchaser.
Okay, great. Is there anyone else? Ms. Summers.
I was asked you to check it out.
What happens? Who will be able to check the deposit?
Yeah, look, Mrs. Summers, I totally understand that, and I understand that you would want confirmation of the deposit going into our trust account as soon as it's done because it is a condition on the sale. I'll be out and I'm quite busy. I'm usually on the road quite a lot, so someone in our team, as soon as it's been credited to the bank account and it comes up in the ledger, they'll notify me and then I'll come back and let you know that it's been done.
Okay. And do you think it's a good idea for me to inspect the property before settlement, Bruce? Once it's been received and,
Yeah, look, I think once we get to the stage where it's unconditional, we're getting very close to a settlement, I think it's very wise and we strongly recommend that you go and have a pre-settlement inspection just to make sure that it's how you remember the property. And it's really wise that if the sellers have moved out, if the Stricks have moved out, the property's got nothing in the way, you can get a really good look at the property. So I'd strongly recommend you do it, but we'll do it when the property's empty and it's close to settlement.
Okay, fantastic, Bruce. That's good. I'm only available on Tuesday, Bruce. Is that going to be okay?
I actually got a fairly full day on Tuesday. However, it is important that at a pre-inspection settlement, a pre-inspection situation before settlement, that I usually try and be there with the purchaser so that I can talk you through it, walk through and answer any questions. So let me see if I can move one of my other appointments to someone else in my office and get them to do it so that I can see you on the day.
Okay, that's great, Bruce. Thank you.
Look, Todd, I'm hoping you can help me. I've got an inspection lined up with Mrs. Summers to do the pre-inspection today, and the situation is that I'm struggling, even though I do have a hands-free phone, and I'm struggling to make my time to let her know that there is a problem with that, and that I can't shift appointments to see her. So look, I'm hoping that you can give her a call I've sent you through all of her numbers and her details. She's not answering her phone at the moment, but can you follow it up for me, because I am going to be tied up in another inspection and with other people and not be in a position to follow her up over the next hour or two. So can you please get in touch with her and let her know that we've arranged, or that I've arranged for another person, being you, to contact her and make arrangements to go and see her for the pre-settlement inspection. And once you've done that, can you just please give me a text to confirm, so that when I come out of my next appointment, I know that it's all been sorted and that Mrs. Summers is under control. So thanks for your time. Thanks, Todd. If you can do that, I'd appreciate it.